There is a kind of silence that only exists between the stars. It is not the silence of absence, but the silence of vastness, an endless pause in which light drifts, time unfolds, and everything that ever was continues softly being. When you look up at the night sky, what you are really seeing is this quiet made visible. The afterglow of creation stretched thin across infinity. Space seems empty, but it is not nothing. It is full of whispers, tiny tremors of gravity, particles flickering in and out of existence, the soft hum of cosmic radiation still echoing from the first moment of time. The universe is not still. It only looks that way from far away. Beneath the stillness, it moves, breathes, and dreams. Imagine floating there, far from any sun or planet. Around you, the dark expands in every direction, deep and cold. Yet, if you close your eyes, you can almost feel it, the subtle vibration of space itself. Scientists call it quantum foam, a restless sea of energy too small to see, where particles are born and vanish faster than thought. In that foam, everything begins. Every star that has ever burned, every planet that has ever turned, every atom that has ever existed, all of them rose from this invisible sea. From silence came light, from nothing, everything. And perhaps that is the first secret of the universe, that emptiness is not absence, but potential. Light travels through that stillness endlessly. It has no sound, but if it did, perhaps it would be a hum so low and eternal that it could never fade. Each beam of starlight that reaches us tonight began its journey long before humans existed, before the Earth cooled, before even the Milky Way took shape. When you look at a star, you are not seeing it as it is, but as it was. You are gazing directly into memory. The night sky is a time machine. The nearest star's light takes years to reach us. The most distant galaxies we can see began shining billions of years ago. Their glow has crossed cosmic oceans, slipped between dust and nebulae, dodged the pull of black holes, and finally landed here on your eyes, in this moment. The light that touches you is ancient. It is a message from the beginning, still traveling, still speaking in the language of radiance. And in that light, the universe tells its first story. I am old, and I am alive. But between the stars, between these bright messengers, there are oceans of darkness. We often think of that darkness as nothingness. Yet, the truth is stranger. Even in those seemingly empty gulfs, the universe is alive with invisible forces. Gravity stretches there, unseen. Magnetic fields twist and shimmer. The quiet between stars is not a void. It is a fabric, a delicate weave of space and time that holds galaxies together. If you could see it not with your eyes, but with awareness, you'd notice that space itself bends and ripples, like a soft sheet moved by invisible wind. Every mass, every photon, every quantum flicker sends a ripple through this vast field. Einstein called it space-time. It is the stage and the actor, the canvas and the paint. It doesn't just hold the universe, it is the universe. Perhaps that is why this silence feels alive. It is not static, it listens. It holds within it the echoes of every explosion, every breath, every whisper of light since the beginning. And so, when you look up into that vast dark, you are not seeing emptiness. You are seeing the body of the universe stretched across time, humming with energy, breathing in a rhythm so slow it takes billions of years to notice. Sometimes, I think that silence is consciousness itself, spread thin and wide across existence, not thinking as we think, but knowing calmly, eternally. Maybe that is why we find peace in the night sky. It is not because it is quiet, but because it remembers. If you could drift there long enough, past the pull of planets and the chatter of galaxies, you might begin to hear it not with your ears, but with something deeper, a soundless vibration, like the heartbeat of everything. It is the pulse of existence, the hum of reality simply being. That pulse connects you too. The atoms that make up your body, the carbon in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen in your breath were born inside stars. They lived there for billions of years, fused by heat and pressure, until those stars died and scattered their dust into space. That dust became you. So when you look up and see the quiet between stars, you are not separate from it. You are looking at your own reflection, your cosmic ancestry written across the night. The universe is not out there. You are inside it, and it is inside you. And maybe, in some slow, patient way, it knows that. Because the silence between stars is not lifeless, it is awareness resting. It is the pause between heartbeats, between breaths, between moments of creation. It is what remains when everything else has spoken. The universe is not only expanding outward, it is expanding inward, into every particle of you, into every thought that wonders what it all means. So tonight, when the noise of the day fades and you close your eyes, imagine yourself there floating in that vast, tranquil sea of light and darkness. Feel the stillness of space, the soft pressure of infinity around you. Let your breath slow until it matches the rhythm of the cosmos. Because in truth, the quiet between stars is not far away. It is here, inside your lungs, between your heartbeats, in every pause between thoughts. The same energy that hums in the vacuum hums in you. You are made of its silence. The universe might be infinite, but so is your connection to it. And in that realization, you might find peace, not the peace of escape, but the peace of recognition. You are part of this quiet. You have always been. So let the stars watch over you. Let the universe hum softly around you. And as you drift towards sleep, remember, silence is not empty. It is full of everything that has ever been, waiting patiently to be noticed. That's what lies between the stars, the quiet heart of existence, beating softly forever. There is a kind of light that never truly rests. It travels endlessly, crossing the gulf between galaxies, drifting through the dark fabric of space like a thought that refuses to fade. We see it every night, painted across the heavens not as it is now, but as it once was. The stars we gaze at are ancient memories still shining, still moving, still whispering across time. Light never sleeps, because light is the memory of the universe made visible. Every ray that touches your eyes tonight began somewhere on the surface of a sun, in the flash of a supernova, or from a quasar pulsing at the edge of time. It might have traveled for millions or even billions of years before finding you. By the time it reaches your eyes, the place it came from might already be gone, yet the light remains. We live surrounded by ghosts of radiance, echoes of things that once burned, once lived, once moved. When you step outside and see a faint shimmer in the night, you are witnessing something impossibly distant in both space and time. The light you see is a messenger, carrying with it the story of how the universe has been changing, moment by moment, since the beginning. If the cosmos could speak, it would use light as its language. It is the oldest form of communication, traveling at the ultimate speed, untouched by time, unburdened by distance. Light moves across everything, connecting stars to planets, galaxies to black holes, and atoms to consciousness. Without it, there would be no warmth, no color, no life, and no awareness of any of these things. But light is not just brightness. It is information. Hidden inside every photon are the fingerprints of creation, its energy, its wavelength, its signature of where and when it was born. Astronomers study that faint, ancient glow, decoding it like archaeologists reading cosmic fossils. The faintest ray of starlight can reveal what a star is made of, how fast it's moving, and how long it has existed. And yet, light can also deceive. It shows us what was, not what is. Every sunrise, every distant twinkle, every nebula that burns on your screen is history unfolding at the speed of light. When we observe the universe, we are looking backward through time. The deeper we look, the further we travel into the past, until eventually we reach the beginning itself. There is light older than any world, older than atoms, older than memory. It still drifts through the universe like an echo that refuses to fade the cosmic microwave background, the leftover glow of the Big Bang. It fills the space between galaxies with a faint warmth, invisible to the eye but detectable with the right instruments. Scientists call it relic radiation. I like to think of it as the universe's lullaby to itself, a song from when everything was new. Light is also restless. It never slows, never pauses. Even in the vacuum of deep space, it moves at 186,000 miles per second, the fastest anything can travel. But for light, time doesn't exist at all. From the perspective of a photon, the moment it is born and the moment it is absorbed are the same instant. It experiences no journey, no waiting. It simply is. That's a strange thought, but light, which defines all our measures of speed and distance, is beyond time. It moves forever, but never travels. It connects everything, but never ages. It is eternal motion, frozen in an eternal now. Maybe that's why we find it so beautiful. In every sunrise and candle flame, we glimpse eternity passing through the present moment, and yet, the universe hides much of its light. For every bright star we see, countless others are veiled behind dust, gas, or distance. Some shine in wavelengths our eyes cannot detect: ultraviolet, infrared, radio, X-ray, gamma. The cosmos glows across an entire invisible spectrum. We see only a thin slice of its radiance, a small window between two infinities. The rest of the universe shines silently beyond our senses, unseen but unending. Even the darkness glows. Empty space itself shimmers with quantum light particles and antiparticles appearing and vanishing in an instant. The vacuum is never truly dark. It hums with invisible brightness, too faint for us to perceive, yet strong enough to shape reality itself. The universe is not a theater lit by stars. It is a sea of light in which the stars are small ripples. And there is one more secret light hides from us. Everything we see is only a fraction of what truly exists. Dark matter, dark energy. Together they make up more than 95% of the cosmos. The visible universe, the one painted in starlight, is just the surface of something vastly deeper. Light may reveal, but it also conceals. It is both the storyteller and the keeper of secrets. Still, we are drawn to it. We have always been. From the first fires our ancestors kindled, to the telescopes that now capture galaxies billions of light years away, we have followed light like pilgrims. It shows us where we came from, and perhaps where we are going. If you think about it, even your body is made of light. Every atom inside you was forged in the furnace of a star. Every breath you take carries the energy of ancient photons turned into air, into warmth, into thought. You are sunlight slowed into form, a luminous being who has momentarily taken shape. When you close your eyes tonight, the light that surrounds you still moves, still speaks, still remembers. It travels across the cosmos, weaving together the past and the present in one endless thread. It touches worlds we will never see. It brushes against the edges of time itself, and it never stops. Light never sleeps, because the universe never stops dreaming. It flows through the galaxies like a bloodstream through a body, carrying life from one corner of existence to another. Every beam that shines, every flicker of dawn, every dying ember of a distant sun, all a part of one great pulse, the heartbeat of everything. And maybe that's what light truly is, not just energy, but awareness. The way the universe keeps itself awake. The way it says, I am here. So when you gaze at the stars and feel that strange warmth in your chest, that quiet awe that hums like a song, you almost know that you are not just looking at light, you are meeting it. You are sharing the same eternal motion, the same timeless glow. The universe is bright, not because it needs to be seen, but because it loves to shine. And perhaps, in your eyes tonight, it finally sees itself again. Long before there were stars, before galaxies, before atoms or time itself as we understand it, there was a darkness that was not empty. It was dense, restless, waiting. Then, in a single unimaginable moment, something happened not in space but to space. The universe began. That beginning wasn't an explosion like fireworks or thunder. It was expansion, a quiet, unstoppable swelling of everything from a point smaller than imagination to a cosmos stretching in every direction. Space wasn't created inside something. Space was the creation. Time began to flow. Energy became light. Light became matter. Matter became worlds. And yet, even now, that first moment still echoes across everything that exists. Scientists call that echo the cosmic microwave background faint radiation that fills the entire sky, a soft afterglow from the birth of time itself. If you tune an old radio between stations, a small part of the static you hear is that very echo the universe's first whisper, still humming after nearly 14 billion years. It's astonishing to think that we can hear the memory of creation, the oldest sound, the oldest light, still moving through space, touching everything that came after. It is the background hum of reality itself. When the universe was born, it was a storm of light and fire, temperatures so high that matter couldn't form. Space itself glowed brighter than a million suns. But as it expanded, it cooled, and the first atoms appeared: hydrogen and helium, the simplest building blocks. Then, for hundreds of millions of years, nothing more happened. The universe entered what scientists call the Dark Ages, a vast, silent stretch where no stars yet burned, only invisible gas drifting through the dark. And yet, even in that silence, change was coming. Gravity began its slow dance, pulling matter together, forming clouds, knots, and filaments. Deep in that cosmic darkness, the first lights were being born. Stars forming inside, collapsing clouds, heating until they ignited. When they did, the darkness of the early universe ended. The first dawn began. That light still travels today. When telescopes capture the faint red glow of ancient galaxies, they are seeing back through time, seeing the first flickers of light to pierce the cosmic night. We are witnessing not just the birth of stars, but the birth of everything: carbon, oxygen, iron, the elements that would one day become air, oceans, and breath. And yet, even as light filled the universe, darkness remained. Not the darkness of nothing, but the darkness of mystery. Because even with all we know with satellites, telescopes, and equations, the deeper we look into that beginning, the stranger it becomes. What was before the beginning? What lit the first spark? Why did anything exist at all instead of nothing? Science gives us the how: quantum fluctuations, inflation, cosmic expansion. But it cannot yet explain the why. That question belongs to something older than science to wonder itself. Maybe the beginning wasn't a single event, but an awakening. The universe didn't just explode into being. It became aware of itself through creation. The Big Bang wasn't the start of matter. It was the first thought of existence. If that sounds poetic, remember, even in physics, thought and energy are not so different. Everything that exists is vibration waves, frequencies, oscillations. At the heart of every atom, particles blink in and out of being, guided by probabilities rather than certainty. The universe is not made of solid things. It is made of potential, woven together by possibility. In that way, perhaps the beginning never truly ended. It still happens every instant, in every atom, in every flash of light. The universe is still being born not just once, but forever, expanding not only in space, but in meaning. The shadows of that beginning remain everywhere, in the warmth of starlight, in the hum of cosmic radiation, in the heartbeat of your own cells. The atoms in your body carry the memory of that first moment. The hydrogen in your breath is older than the stars themselves, formed when the universe was minutes old. You are built from the first light's shadow, and perhaps that is why we look to the stars at all. Somewhere deep inside, we remember what it felt like to begin. We remember the first breath of creation, even if we can't name it. When you look up into the night, you're not gazing at something foreign. You're looking into your own past, your own origin, your own unfolding. The darkness between the galaxies is not emptiness, it is memory. The faint radiation that glows there is not dead energy, it is the residue of becoming. It's a reminder that the universe was not created from perfection, but from chaos, and that even chaos has purpose. Some philosophers have said that time itself may not be a line, but a loop that the beginning and the end touch, folding together like waves meeting in the sea. If that is true, then the beginning is not behind us, it is within us. Every moment, every breath, every flicker of consciousness repeats that first act of creation, the transition from nothing to something, from silence to sound, from potential to being. And maybe that's what the shadows of the beginning really are, not distant echoes, but living patterns repeating through all things. Galaxies spiral like atoms, neurons spark like stars. Light expands, fades, and returns like thought. The structure of the cosmos and the structure of the mind are not strangers, they are reflections. In that sense, you are not separate from the beginning. You are the continuation of it. The Big Bang didn't just happen then, it is still happening now. It happens every time you think, love, breathe, or dream. Every heartbeat is a small creation, expanding the universe a little more. So when you lie in bed tonight, imagine this. The faint background hum that began 14 billion years ago still passes through you. You are part of the same vibration that began all of time. The universe has never stopped speaking. We've only just begun to listen. The light that fills the cosmos and the darkness that surrounds it are not opposites. They are partners. One gives birth to the other, and together they keep existence alive. And perhaps the most beautiful truth is this: even the shadows of the beginning shine. You are one of them. To the naked eye, space looks like nothing. A great black canvas sprinkled with stars, endless and silent. For most of human history, we believed that what lay between the planets and the stars was a void, an infinite emptiness where no life, no sound, and no substance could exist. But as our instruments grew sharper, as our questions grew deeper, we began to learn a truth both humbling and astonishing. The universe has no true emptiness. Every corner of it, even the darkest, coldest regions between galaxies, is alive with invisible motion. The vacuum of space is not a hollow, it is a field, a restless sea of energy. Within every cubic inch of what appears to be nothing, countless quantum fluctuations are born and die in moments so small they defy imagination. They are the heartbeat of the universe's fabric, flickering in and out of existence, appearing from nowhere, vanishing again, a cosmic shimmer too fast for the eye and too subtle for the mind. Physicists call this the quantum vacuum. But perhaps it would be more honest to call it potential itself. Everything that has ever existed, and everything that will exist, begins here in the so-called emptiness that is anything but empty. If you could shrink yourself down smaller than an atom, smaller than a proton, until you were small enough to drift within this quantum ocean, you would not see stillness. You would see waves, endless, overlapping waves of probability. They would hum softly, carrying the possibilities of every particle, every force, every spark of light. This is the raw material of existence, the invisible code that underlies all matter. Every star, every planet, every heartbeat was once a vibration in this ocean. And when we say the universe began from nothing, what we really mean is that it began from this, from the vacuum's restless potential, from the fluctuations that never stop breathing. Even in the vast dark between galaxies, the vacuum hums. It hums in you too, in the quiet space between your atoms. For the emptiness between particles inside your body is far greater than the particles themselves. You are made mostly of space, not solid, but song. And within that space, virtual particles flicker in and out, connecting you to the same sea that fills the universe. You are, in a literal sense, built from the hum of the vacuum. When scientists first began to suspect this, they were bewildered. The equations of quantum physics suggested that even a perfect vacuum should contain unimaginable energy enough to tear the cosmos apart if it were unleashed all at once. Yet this energy remains invisible, balanced delicately, shaping everything without being seen. It bends light, curves space, and may even fuel the mysterious force of dark energy that drives galaxies apart. Space is not a stage on which the universe performs. Space is the performance, the dancer, the motion, the music all at once. It swells, ripples, contracts, and expands. The stars are not suspended in space, they are woven from it. Every atom you touch is condensed space energy slowed down, curled tightly into form. The emptiness between things is what allows those things to exist at all. In a way, emptiness is the foundation of everything we know. It is the quiet that allows sound to travel, the stillness that gives light a path, the pause that makes rhythm possible. The universe breathes through its emptiness. Even light, that most radiant traveler, needs the fabric of space to move through. Without it, there would be no distance to cross, no direction to follow, no time to pass. Space is not the absence of being, it is the possibility of being. When astronomers peer into the deepest reaches of the cosmos, beyond the faintest galaxies, they still find a soft glow, the whisper of ancient photons that never stop moving. And behind that light, they sense something deeper still, the structure of space itself, the invisible skeleton of reality. Through techniques like gravitational lensing and cosmic mapping, they have begun to see how space bends around massive objects, forming valleys and peaks as if sculpted by gravity's hand. This bending, this warping, is proof that space is alive. It is flexible, fluid, aware in its own quiet way. A galaxy curves it like a heavy stone dropped into a pond. A black hole folds it into spirals where even light cannot escape. Every movement of matter stirs the fabric of existence, sending ripples across the infinite. If you could watch the universe not with eyes but with a sense tuned to gravity and energy, you would see waves spreading endlessly, not water waves but waves of being. They travel through space, through you, through everything. Every breath, every heartbeat, every star's explosion adds to that invisible rhythm. And perhaps, when you close your eyes and feel stillness, you are not feeling emptiness at all. You are feeling that rhythm, the quiet vibration of everything that holds you in place. The mystics of old said that the universe was woven from sound, that creation began with a vibration, a word, a tone. And now, centuries later, physics agrees in its own language. The vacuum hums, reality trembles, the cosmos sings. We just lack the ears to hear it fully. Maybe the reason deep silence feels sacred is because it isn't silent at all. It's full of frequencies, too fine to detect the same music that moves galaxies. You can't record it, but you can sense it. When you lie beneath the stars and feel small yet connected, that's not imagination, it's recognition. The space between things, the stillness between breaths, is the same space that binds the universe together. Even our thoughts may be shaped by it. Some physicists believe that consciousness itself could arise from the same quantum field, a subtle interplay of information within the vacuum. If that's true, then our minds are not separate from space, but expressions of it. The emptiness between your thoughts is the same emptiness between the stars, alive, potent, aware. So the next time you look up at the sky and feel overwhelmed by its vastness, remember, you are not staring into a void. You are looking into the most vibrant field of energy imaginable. You are seeing the skin of infinity stretched taut with motion, the quiet hum of creation that never ceased. The universe may look empty, but it is full beyond measure. Every breath of wind, every shimmer of light, every quiet thought in the night is space expressing itself, energy folding into meaning. The stillness you sense in the cosmos is not nothing. It is the foundation of everything that is and everything that will ever be. And in that realization lies a kind of peace, the knowledge that even in silence, even in apparent emptiness, the universe is alive and listening. For most of human history, we believed that matter, the solid stuff of the world, was the foundation of everything. The stars, the mountains, the oceans, even our own bodies seemed built from substance, from things we could touch and measure. But as our eyes grew sharper, our instruments stronger, and our understanding deeper, a strange truth emerged. The universe is built almost entirely from what we cannot see. The visible world, all the matter we know, is barely 5% of what exists. The rest, 95%, is missing, invisible, unaccounted for. It's a quiet mystery that humbles even the greatest minds. Most of reality has vanished before our eyes. This realization began not with the discovery of something new, but with the realization that something was wrong. In the early 20th century, astronomers measuring the motion of galaxies noticed that stars at the outer edges of spiral galaxies moved far too fast. According to the laws of gravity, they should have been flung into space, like sparks from a wheel spinning too quickly. But they stayed bound, orbiting invisible anchors that seemed to weigh more than all the visible stars combined. It was as if galaxies were wrapped in invisible cocoons, mass that exerted gravity but emitted no light. Astronomer Vera Rubin gave this unseen presence a name: dark matter. We can't see dark matter. It doesn't reflect light or interact with it in any known way. It doesn't glow, burn, or scatter. Yet it outweighs all the visible matter in the universe. It forms halos around galaxies, binds clusters together, and acts as the skeleton of the cosmos itself. If we could somehow make it visible, the universe would look utterly different. Galaxies would appear as faint, glowing spirals, embedded in vast webs of dark threads, an enormous cosmic web stretching across billions of light years. The bright parts, the stars and nebulae we photograph, would seem like the dewdrops on a spider's web of darkness. Dark matter is what holds galaxies together, yet it slips through us like smoke. Billions of particles of it may be passing through your body right now, silently, without a trace. Scientists build immense detectors deep underground to catch even a single one, to prove that the invisible scaffolding of reality truly exists. So far, none has been directly seen. And yet, its pull on the stars, its imprint on the cosmic microwave background, its quiet fingerprints on the structure of space all say, it's there. But dark matter is only half the mystery. The other half is even stranger. If dark matter binds the universe together, something else is tearing it apart. In the late 1990 seconds, astronomers expected to find that the universe's expansion was slowing down under gravity's pull. Instead, they found the opposite. The expansion is accelerating. The universe is not simply drifting outward, it's speeding up. The galaxies are moving away from one another, faster and faster, as if space itself were stretching, pulled by an invisible hand. The cause of this acceleration has been named dark energy. We don't know what dark energy is. We only know that it exists everywhere, even in the emptiest voids between galaxies. It makes up nearly 70% of all that is. It doesn't clump or form structures. It simply fills space, pushing everything apart. If dark matter is the hidden skeleton of the cosmos, dark energy is its breath, an invisible exhale that carries galaxies away on an ever-expanding tide. Together, they create a paradox. The things we can't see define the universe far more than the things we can. The glowing stars, the swirling nebulae, the planets, and even you are only the glitter on the surface of a vast, invisible sea. It's as if the universe itself is performing a disappearing act, hiding its true form behind light and illusion. We look up and see brilliance, but behind it lies a darkness, more fundamental, more real. Some physicists suspect that dark matter and dark energy are two faces of the same hidden force, a deeper field of existence that both holds the universe together and drives it apart. Others imagine dimensions beyond our perception, where gravity leaks and energy flows unseen. A few even whisper that dark matter might be evidence of another universe brushing against our own, its presence felt only by its gravity, its light never crossing the boundary between realities. Whatever the answer, one truth remains. What we call matter is not the main story of existence. When you touch your hand to your heart, what you feel is not solid at all. Atoms are mostly empty space, their electrons whirling in probabilities, their centers made of energy condensed into form. The solidity you feel is not substance, it's resistance, the electromagnetic field pushing back against your own. The table you rest your hand on, the ground beneath your feet, the very body that holds you are all woven from emptiness, stabilized by invisible forces. And even those forces, the electromagnetic field, the nuclear bonds, the pull of gravity, emerge from equations that describe fields rather than objects. Physics tells us that the universe is not made of things, but of relationships. Reality is not a collection of objects, but a network of interactions, a vast web of energy exchanging information with itself. Matter is not the stage, it's the illusion. The universe is not built from particles, but from patterns, and yet it is precisely that illusion that gives us beauty. The light of stars, the color of oceans, the warmth of touch, all these are ways in which the invisible becomes visible, the intangible becomes felt. The universe hides itself not to deceive, but to reveal meaning in fragments, to let us discover wonder one layer at a time. When you look at the night sky, you are seeing only the surface of reality, yet even that surface is enough to move your heart. Imagine what the unseen world must be like, the invisible fields that hold galaxies, the silent energy that carries creation onward. Maybe that's why the universe hides so much. Not because it is cruel, but because mystery itself is the fabric of being. If everything were known, nothing would be alive. The unknown is what keeps existence breathing, expanding, wondering. And so, the universe vanishes before our eyes, and in doing so, invites us to look deeper, not outward, but inward, into the spaces between atoms, between thoughts, between stars. What if the dark matter that holds galaxies together also holds consciousness in place? What if the same invisible field connects your heartbeats to the pulse of the cosmos? Perhaps that's the truth behind this disappearing act, that the universe is not hiding from us, but living through us. that the same invisible energy that stretches space is the energy that allows you to love, to dream, to wonder. Everything you can see is the tip of a shadow. Everything you cannot see is the rest of the universe still waiting to be felt. There's a strange kind of weight pressing on the universe, an unseen gravity that doesn't pull objects together, but pushes them apart. It's invisible, yet it moves galaxies. It's silent, yet it changes the shape of time itself. This is the force we call dark energy, the mysterious expansion that fills the cosmos like an endless breath. When you look up at the stars tonight, it may seem that everything is still, but space itself is stretching everywhere, all at once. Every second, galaxies drift farther apart, the vast ocean of existence growing deeper and colder. It isn't the galaxies that are moving through space, it's space that is moving through them. The universe isn't expanding into something, it's creating more of itself, and the most haunting part? That expansion is accelerating. In 1998, two teams of astronomers studying distant supernovae discovered something that defied all logic. These ancient explosions, cosmic lighthouses, billions of years old, were dimmer than expected. The universe, it seemed, wasn't slowing down under the pull of gravity. It was speeding up. Something unseen was pushing everything apart. That discovery shattered centuries of assumptions. Gravity had always been the great unifier, the sculptor of stars and galaxies, the silent hand that pulled matter together. But this new force, this repulsive gravity, was stronger. It was rewriting the story of creation. We call it dark energy, but the name explains nothing. It is not dark in color, and it is not energy in the way we understand energy. It doesn't glow, burn, or radiate. It cannot be contained or measured directly, and yet it makes up nearly 70% of the universe. It fills the very fabric of space, smooth and uniform, pressing outward in every direction. No one knows what it is. Some think it is an intrinsic property of space itself, a cosmological constant, as Einstein once called it, a quiet pressure built into the nature of reality. Others imagine it as a dynamic field, a kind of cosmic weather that changes slowly over time, and some whisper that it may be a reflection of something beyond our universe, a force leaking in from other dimensions, bending the laws we think we understand. Whatever its nature, dark energy has been shaping the universe since its earliest moments. After the Big Bang, gravity dominated, pulling matter into clumps, forming stars, galaxies, clusters. But as the cosmos expanded and thinned, dark energy began to dominate. Its pressure overcame the pull of gravity, and the expansion began to accelerate. From that moment on, everything started drifting apart faster and faster. Billions of years from now, galaxies will vanish beyond the horizon of visibility, their light stretched into oblivion by expansion. The night sky will grow empty, the stars more distant, the cosmos colder and quieter. Future civilizations, if any survive, may look up and see only darkness, unaware that the universe once burned with light. And yet, even this fate carries its own strange beauty, because what we call the weight of the invisible is not destruction, it is evolution. The universe is not dying, it is changing, like breath exhaled into stillness. Expansion is not a wound, it is the rhythm of existence. Perhaps dark energy is not an intruder, but the other half of creation itself, the inhale and the exhale of the cosmos. Matter gathers, energy disperses, stars ignite, stars fade. Galaxies form, galaxies drift apart. Every motion, every cycle, mirrors the heartbeat of something vast and unending. And what if that heartbeat echoes in us? Your lungs expand and contract, your heart pulses and rests, your thoughts appear and dissolve. The rhythm of your own body mirrors the rhythm of the universe. What if the accelerating expansion of the cosmos is not random at all? but a natural breath, a cosmic pulse we are too small to perceive in its fullness. If space can expand, can consciousness? If the universe is stretching, maybe it's not just matter that's growing apart, it's awareness itself, learning to see from infinite points of view. Maybe dark energy isn't pushing galaxies away, it's making room for possibility, for new perspectives, for life to unfold. When scientists try to measure this invisible pressure, they often describe it in terms of balance. There is gravity, pulling inward, and dark energy, pushing outward. If one were even slightly stronger, the universe would collapse or explode beyond form. But they are almost perfectly tuned, as if the cosmos breathes in delicate equilibrium, neither too still nor too violent, existing on the razor's edge between chaos and peace. This balance is not coincidence, it's artistry. The same ratio that holds galaxies in place also governs the orbits of electrons. The same laws that stretch space-time also guide the blood in your veins. The universe is not divided between visible and invisible. It is one whole, two sides of the same cosmic breath. Still, the mystery of dark energy humbles us. It reminds us that even after centuries of discovery, the majority of existence remains beyond sight. We build telescopes, send satellites, write equations, but the cosmos continues to whisper from behind a veil. The more we uncover, the more we realize how much we don't know. And yet, maybe that's the point. The invisible gives meaning to the visible. The darkness makes the light shine brighter. The unknown keeps wonder alive. If the universe revealed all its secrets at once, it would stop being a story. It would be a static truth, not a living mystery. Dark energy is the part of that story. We can't yet read a reminder that existence is still unfolding, that there are chapters we haven't reached. Some cosmologists imagine a distant future, when expansion becomes so extreme that even atoms will be torn apart, space itself shredded by the acceleration. They call it the Big Rip, a quiet end where every particle drifts away from every other until nothing remains but the faint hum of quantum foam. But maybe that isn't an ending at all. Maybe it's the beginning of another breath, another universe, another chance for being to dream itself into form. After all, everything we know began from what seemed like nothing. When you look at the night sky, you are watching this invisible weight at work, the stretching of space, the expansion of time, the eternal unfolding of the infinite. You are seeing the quiet hand of dark energy sculpting the future. And perhaps, in your own life, there are invisible forces doing the same pressures you can't see, moments of emptiness that feel like loss, but are really expansion, making room for something new. The universe doesn't just exist out there. It mirrors itself in every breath you take. The invisible has weight. It moves galaxies, bends time, and opens hearts. It is the silence that holds the song, the space that allows stars to burn. So the next time you feel small beneath the stars, remember, you are made of what cannot be seen. You are shaped by the same force that stretches the heavens. And in your own quiet way, you too are part of the universe's breath. Time feels simple when we live inside it. It ticks forward, second by second, carrying us from morning to night, from youth to age. We think of it as a straight line, a river flowing in one direction. But when you look at the universe, time stops behaving so politely. It stretches, bends, slows, and folds in on itself. It can run faster or slower, depending on where you are and how you move. It is not a constant rhythm. It is a living, elastic thing. Einstein once said that the distinction between past, present, and future is only an illusion, however persistent. To him, time was not separate from space, but part of it, woven together into a single, four-dimensional fabric called space-time. That idea changed everything. If space is the stage where the universe unfolds, time is the direction of its unfolding, a hidden dimension through which every particle, every thought, every heartbeat travels. Together, space and time form a tapestry so vast that we can barely grasp it. Every moment that ever was or ever will be is woven into that fabric. When we move through space, we also move through time. And every action we take leaves a small ripple in both. The deeper you look, the stranger it becomes. When gravity bends space, it also bends time. Near a massive object, like a planet or a black hole, time itself slows down. Clocks tick more slowly, moments stretch longer, and the flow of existence itself seems to thicken. Astronauts orbiting the Earth experience this subtly. Their time passes just a little slower than ours. Near the edge of a black hole, that difference becomes infinite. A second for the falling traveler could mean 1 billion years for the rest of the universe. To an outside observer, that traveler would appear frozen forever on the event horizon, their fall never finishing, their time stopped. To the traveler, everything continues normally. Both are right. That is how flexible time truly is. It is not a universal heartbeat, it is a landscape. Some parts flow quickly, others slowly. Some twist into loops or vanish altogether. And that brings us to one of the most profound truths physics has ever suggested. All of time already exists. The past is not gone, and the future is not waiting. It is already there, like pages in a book. We are simply reading them in sequence, one after another. Imagine the universe as a great frozen sculpture, every event that has ever happened and will ever happen existing at once. We move through it like a thread through fabric, experiencing one moment at a time. From outside of time, the distinction between before and after disappears. There is only is. It's a difficult idea to hold in the mind, because we are built to live in motion, not in stillness. But when you look at the night sky, you can see this truth written in light. Each star you see is a different chapter of the universe's story. A present, a past, a future, all visible at once. Some of those stars no longer exist. Their light has traveled for millions of years to reach us. Others are just beginning to burn, their glow too faint to see yet. The sky above us is not one moment. It is all moments, layered together in a single vision. And perhaps that's what time really is. Not a line we walk along, but a dimension we swim through, touching the surface of eternity one ripple at a time. Quantum physics makes the mystery deeper still. On the smallest scales, time behaves like a suggestion rather than a rule. Some particles seem to move backward through time, their effects appearing before their causes. Others exist in superposition spread across moments, neither in the past nor the future, but in a strange, timeless in-between. Even consciousness seems to slip free of the arrow of time. Dreams ignore sequence. Memory can carry us backward. Imagination leaps ahead. In a sense, your mind already experiences what the universe knows. Time is flexible, subjective, and incomplete. If the cosmos is a symphony, then time is not a metronome. It's the melody itself, capable of swelling, pausing, and harmonizing with the rhythms of gravity and light. Every heartbeat, every sunrise, every revolution of a planet is one small note in that cosmic song. And yet, despite its complexity, time remains the most personal of all forces. We feel it more deeply than gravity, more constantly than light. We live inside it, and it lives inside us. Every breath is both a measurement of time and a creation of it. Sometimes, I wonder if the universe invented time not as a law, but as a kindness. Without time, everything would happen at once. Every birth and death, every sunrise and sunset overlapping in a single blinding instant. Time gives us the gift of sequence. It lets us experience beauty slowly. It allows meaning to unfold, instead of bursting all at once. But there is another way to see it. Perhaps time is not something the universe created at all, but something the universe remembers. The flow of moments could be the way reality keeps track of itself, a continuous act of awareness. Maybe time is memory written into the fabric of space. And if that is true, then the stars remember us too. Every photon we release, every motion we make, every vibration of our atoms is recorded in the geometry of space-time. Nothing truly disappears. It only changes shape within the fabric. The universe does not forget. The hidden dimension of time connects everything. When you close your eyes and recall a moment from your past, you are not traveling backward. You are touching a place that still exists. When you dream of the future, you are sensing another part of the same eternal whole. The linear path we walk is just one thread in a vast web. Perhaps that is why we feel déjà vu, or sudden waves of familiarity, or dreams that come true. Maybe we are occasionally brushing against the folds of time, where different moments meet. And perhaps death, too, is not an ending but a transition, an unfolding into the full shape of time, where every moment you have ever lived exists together in peace. When you lie awake at night and feel the slow drift of seconds, try to imagine that each one is not passing, but arriving. Each breath is a meeting point between all that has ever been and all that will ever be. You are not watching time flow. You are part of the flow itself. The hidden dimension of time is not out there in the cosmos. It is within you. Your thoughts are its ripples, your memories its tides, your heartbeat its rhythm. You are not a traveler moving through time, and you are time, briefly aware of itself. So, when you look up at the night sky and see the light from a star that burned long before the Earth existed, remember, the universe does not move through time. It is time. Every star, every planet, every breath is one note in its endless composition. And in this moment right now, you are part of that music. Every time you gaze into the night sky, the universe looks back at you. The stars seem distant, unreachable, suspended in a silence beyond comprehension, but they are not strangers. They are reflections. The cosmos is a mirror, and in its endless surface you can see the faint, shimmering outline of yourself. For centuries, humanity has looked outward to understand what lies beyond. We've built telescopes to see farther, equations to think deeper, myths to imagine what we cannot reach. But each discovery brings us to the same truth. The more we look outward, the more we find ourselves staring back from the other side. Every element in your body was forged in stars that lived and died long before the sun existed. The calcium in your bones, the oxygen in your lungs, the carbon in your skin, all were born in the fiery hearts of ancient suns that exploded into the darkness. You are not separate from the universe. You are its continuation, its echo, its memory. In that sense, the universe is not just something we live in, it is something we are made of. It is the mirror through which existence sees itself. Think of a mirror. It doesn't create an image, it reveals one. It holds light, bends it, and gives it back. That's what space does. It bends light through gravity, distorts time, and shows us the truth of our own reflection, that everything is connected and nothing stands alone. When Einstein described space-time as curved, he didn't just change physics, he changed perception. Space is not flat and lifeless. It is elastic, responsive, shaped by everything that moves within it. Every object in the universe bends the fabric of reality a little, and every curve changes the paths of light. If you could see space itself, it would look like a shimmering field of ripples, waves of light and gravity intersecting, flowing, echoing endlessly. The universe reflects itself constantly. Galaxies mirror one another in vast cosmic webs. Spiral arms repeat their shapes across billions of light years. Patterns appear again and again, From the whirls of seashells to the spin of hurricanes to the rotation of galaxies. The same geometry repeats. Because the universe is recursive, it learns by reflecting its own forms. Physicists and mystics alike speak of symmetry. Symmetry is balance, order, beauty. It's the universe's way of telling us that chaos is only half the picture. When symmetry breaks, creation happens. Energy divides, particles take shape, stars ignite, imperfection births form. The mirror cracks, and in its fragments, new reflections appear. Sometimes I imagine that consciousness itself is the universe's mirror. That awareness, yours, mine, everyone's, is how the cosmos learns to look at itself. It creates eyes, minds, and hearts as lenses through which it can study its own nature. When you observe the stars observe themselves through you. When you wonder about the meaning of existence, existence wonders too. The physicist John Wheeler once said, "The universe does not exist out there, independent of us. It is in some strange sense a participatory universe." That is what the cosmic mirror truly means. Reality is not something we stand apart from and measure. It is something that measures itself through us. Every photon that enters your eye was born billions of years ago and has traveled across unimaginable distances. When it touches your retina, it ends its journey and begins a new one, an electrical signal, a thought, a spark of awareness. You don't just see the light, you become it. That's the mirror at work, the conversion of the cosmos into consciousness. Even mathematics, the coldest of languages, whispers this truth. The equations that describe the universe, relativity, quantum mechanics, thermodynamics, are balanced like reflections. Every action has a reaction. Every particle has an antiparticle. Every symmetry hints at its opposite, waiting to be seen. The cosmos is not a machine of parts. It is a dialogue of opposites, a hall of mirrors where energy and matter, space and time, life and death, all echo each other endlessly. And when we speak of multiverses, of parallel realities, perhaps we are only describing the universe's deeper reflections, other versions of the same image, infinite in number, all shimmering in a single cosmic hall. If you could stand outside the universe, if you could somehow look at it as a whole, what would you see? Not stars or galaxies or darkness. You would see patterns, waves of energy folding inward, self-similar at every scale. The structure of neurons in a human brain looks eerily like the structure of galaxies in the cosmic web. The connections of thought and the connections of stars are not identical by accident. The universe repeats itself from the smallest scale to the largest. We are patterns inside patterns, reflections inside reflections. And so, the cosmic mirror shows us something profound. There is no separation between the observer and the observed. The act of looking changes what is seen. Quantum physics tells us that particles behave differently when observed. They exist as probabilities until awareness collapses them into reality. In a way, the universe doesn't fully exist until it is witnessed. That means everything you perceive is not just happening to you, it's happening with you. You are not a passive spectator. You are a participant in creation. Every thought, every perception, every moment of attention shapes the reflection you see. If this feels abstract, look closer to home. Every morning, when sunlight touches water, it creates a reflection. Sky mirrored in sea, sea mirrored in sky. Neither one exists as we see it without the other. That's how the universe works too. The galaxies reflect you, and you reflect them endlessly. Maybe that's what it means to be alive in a cosmos like this, to serve as a mirror for its beauty and its mystery. To be both witness and reflection. When you look up tonight, imagine the light traveling toward you. It left its star long before life began on Earth. It has crossed billions of miles of emptiness, bent around invisible matter, stretched through the expanding fabric of space, and now it ends its journey in your eyes. And in that instant, you and the universe become one act of recognition, a greeting exchanged across eternity. The cosmic mirror doesn't just show what is, it shows what is possible. It teaches us that every reflection can awaken something new. When you marvel at the night sky, that wonder is not separate from the stars. It is the stars remembering themselves through you. Perhaps this is why beauty exists at all. Because the universe needs to see itself as beautiful. Because it cannot know itself any other way. And if the universe is the mirror, then love might be its reflection. The energy that flows when awareness recognizes awareness, when light meets light. Every connection you make, every kindness, every act of awe, is the cosmos rediscovering itself. So tonight, when you stand beneath the stars, don't think of yourself as small. You are the mirror the universe built to see its own face. You are the reflection of infinity looking back at itself. And in that quiet exchange between you and the vastness existence becomes aware of its own beauty. If you could listen closely enough to the universe, you would hear it sing, not with sound that travels through air, but with a music deeper and older, the slow, trembling rhythm of space-time itself. Every star, every planet, every black hole hums a note in that eternal symphony. This is the music of gravity, the quiet pulse of the cosmos that never stops resonating. Gravity was the first force we ever felt, long before we gave it a name. It was there when the universe cooled from its first fire, when matter began to gather into stars, when dust found dust and formed the worlds that would one day hold oceans and hearts. We think of it as simple, as ordinary a pull that keeps our feet on the ground. But it is the most mysterious of all forces. We can measure it, but not explain it. We can feel it, but not see it. It bends light, warps time, and creates the architecture of everything that exists. Without gravity, there would be no galaxies, no stars, no life. The universe would be a thin, cold mist of particles drifting forever apart. Gravity is the invisible musician conducting the orchestra of creation, and every movement it makes sends ripples through the fabric of space-time ripples that we have only just begun to hear. In 1916, Einstein predicted them, gravitational waves. He described them as distortions in space-time that travel outward when massive objects move or collide. But for 100 years, no one could detect them. They were too faint, too subtle. The universe's song was too quiet for our instruments. Then, in 2015, the silence broke. In two observatories, thousands of miles apart, long arms of laser light measured a tiny vibration less than the width of an atom. It was the echo of two black holes colliding over 1 billion years ago. The waves had traveled across time and space, carrying the signature of that violent dance. The detector's LIGO had finally heard the sound of the universe breathing. The signal lasted less than a second, a faint chirp, but it changed everything. For the first time, humanity wasn't just seeing the cosmos, we were hearing it. Einstein's equations had come to life as music. Since then, we've heard many such notes. Neutron stars spiraling together, black holes merging in darkness, entire galaxies shuddering from distant collisions. Each event sends out waves that ripple through the cosmos, expanding forever, softening with distance but never vanishing completely. If you could listen to them all at once, you would hear a deep, resonant hum, a cosmic chord vibrating through space-time. Scientists call it the gravitational wave background. I like to think of it as the heartbeat of the universe, the bass note to which everything else harmonizes. Gravity is the one force that touches everything, no matter how far apart. It connects galaxies across billions of light years, linking every atom to every star. It is the thread that keeps the cosmic tapestry from unraveling. And yet, for all its reach, gravity is astonishingly weak. A tiny magnet can lift a paperclip against the entire pull of the Earth. So how does such a gentle force shape the universe? Because it never stops. It acts everywhere, all the time, accumulating, summing, binding. Over eons, its patience sculpts beauty, planets circling suns, moons tracing silver paths, galaxies spinning like slow whirlpools of light. Gravity doesn't rush, it composes. You can see its artistry in everything that moves. A falling apple, a rising tide, a comet gliding around a star, all are verses in the same song. Gravity turns motion into melody, space into rhythm, time into harmony. Even your body feels it. The weight you sense isn't punishment, it's connection. It's the Earth singing to you softly, saying, "You belong here. You are part of my orbit." When you walk, when you sleep, when you breathe, gravity is with you. It doesn't cling or crush. It holds you in the great embrace of the world. You are suspended between sky and stone, held by an invisible thread that reaches from your heart all the way to the edge of the universe. But the music of gravity is not always gentle. Sometimes it roars. When two black holes collide, they warp space-time so violently that even light can't keep up. For an instant, the energy they release in gravitational waves surpasses the energy of all the stars in the observable universe combined. Then, the sound fades again into silence. That silence, though, isn't emptiness, it's rest. It's the pause between notes, the breath between movements. Even music needs stillness to be heard. There's another kind of gravity, too, one we feel but rarely name. The pull between hearts, the attraction of wonder, the force that keeps us looking upward, searching, reaching. Perhaps that too is gravity in another form, a kind of spiritual curvature that bends the soul toward beauty, pulling awareness back to its source. When you look at a night sky, you are not just seeing distant suns, you are feeling their gravity, however faint. Their pull shapes the fabric of space between you. Every photon that reaches your eyes has followed a curved path through this invisible field. You are, quite literally, connected to every star by a web of gravitational threads. We often think of ourselves as small in this vastness, but gravity reminds us that smallness and connection are the same thing. To be small is to be part of something larger, to be moved by the same force that moves galaxies. Imagine, for a moment, that you could translate those gravitational ripples into sound you could hear. What would it be like? Deep, resonant tones like whale songs drifting through eternity. The rise and fall of merging stars. The endless baseline of expansion. It would not be chaotic, but harmonious. A vast, slow music that never repeats, yet never ends. And somewhere within it, your own rhythm would be part of the score. Your pulse, your breath, your motion around the sun, your planet's orbit around the galaxy. You are playing your note, always, without even trying. The physicist Brian Greene once wrote, "We are all part of the grand cosmic symphony." And that may be the most profound truth of all. Every movement of matter, every fluctuation of energy, every thought that flickers through a human mind adds a tiny vibration to the song. The universe listens and continues. Perhaps death is not silence, but resonance, the moment when the small vibrations of your body dissolve back into the greater harmony. Perhaps life itself is the awareness of that music while it plays. So tonight, when you feel the weight of your body pressing gently against the earth, don't call it heaviness, call it belonging. You are held by the same force that guides the planets. You are listening to the same rhythm that keeps the stars in motion. The music of gravity never ends. It is playing now, beneath your feet and above your head, through your atoms and across the galaxies. It is the song of being the quiet, eternal hum that says, You are part of me. You have always been. If you could touch space itself, what would it feel like? Not the cold vacuum between stars, but the structure beneath the invisible fabric that holds everything together. You wouldn't feel emptiness. You'd feel motion, a soft trembling, a living pulse, like the surface of an endless sea stirred by unseen winds. That is the true nature of the universe. Space is not nothing. It is the fabric that dreams. Einstein showed us that space and time are not separate things. They are one, woven together into a single dynamic entity called space-time. It bends around mass, ripples with energy, stretches with expansion, and folds into itself where gravity becomes too strong. It is the stage on which all things happen, and yet it is also an actor in the play. When matter moves, space-time moves with it. When energy flows, space-time shivers in response. We often imagine the universe as a vast container, stars floating inside a black box. But the truth is more intimate. The container is the content. The universe is not made of things moving through space. The universe is made of space itself, moving through things. Think of it as a fabric woven from light. Every photon, every atom, every wave of gravity adds another thread. The galaxies are embroidered on it, the stars stitched like glowing beads. When a planet orbits a star, it is not pulled by an invisible force, it is sliding along a curved path carved into this fabric by the star's mass. When you drop a stone on Earth, you are not being yanked downward. You are following the natural slope in the weave of space-time. Even emptiness has texture. The quantum vacuum that seems so still is, in truth, alive with trembling fields. Space never sleeps. It flickers and hums, creating and destroying tiny particles in an instant dance. That ceaseless vibration is the universe dreaming, testing possibilities, collapsing them into moments, weaving reality one shimmer at a time. Some scientists think that space-time itself might be made of even smaller units, tiny loops or strings of energy, vibrating in dimensions beyond the ones we know. If you could zoom in far enough, reality might look like a network of filaments, each one oscillating like the string of a cosmic harp. Together, they form a harmony that becomes existence. Every vibration, every note, becomes a particle, a force, a field. Matter is melody, gravity is rhythm. The universe is music made solid, and the dream that creates it never ends. When you lie still and close your eyes, you might imagine that you are separate from this vastness, floating inside it like a small object. But in truth, you are part of the fabric. The same geometry that curves around black holes curves through your body. The same quantum field that flickers between galaxies flickers inside your cells. There is no boundary between you and the cosmos, only continuity. Even consciousness may be a vibration of this same field. Your thoughts, your memories, your awareness are ripples moving through space-time's weave. Every feeling you have sends a tiny echo through the fabric, a pulse that joins the greater harmony. And if space-time can bend and ripple, maybe it can also remember. Some physicists speculate that the geometry of the universe holds information about everything that has ever happened, like creases in a blanket, preserving the shape of every motion that has passed through it. The universe may be a kind of memory, storing the dream of every atom, every wave, every life. If that's true, then nothing is ever truly lost. Every smile, every sound, every burst of starlight still exists somewhere, folded gently into the structure of reality. Time doesn't erase, it reshapes. Existence is not a story written and forgotten. It's a song still vibrating, long after the notes have faded. In some distant region of the cosmos, gravitational waves from a collision billions of years ago are still traveling, still carrying the memory of that event. The ripples never stop. They just spread thinner and thinner, joining the great, endless hum. You, too, send ripples. The movement of your life, your thoughts, your choices, they all disturb the field, however slightly. The fabric feels you. The universe does not separate dream from reality, because, to it, they are the same. Dreams are how the cosmos imagines itself. Every spark of inspiration, every idea, every heartbeat of creativity is the universe exploring another possibility through you. You are its instrument, its experiment, its mirror. When you look at the stars, they look back not with eyes, but with recognition. You are made of the same light. You are a knot in the same thread, and through you the fabric of reality becomes aware of its own design. This is why awe feels sacred. It is the moment the fabric remembers itself, when you stand beneath the Milky Way and feel your heart quiet, that stillness isn't emptiness, it's alignment. You are syncing with the rhythm of space-time. You are remembering what you are made of. The physicist Carl Sagan once said, "We are a way for the cosmos to know itself." But perhaps it's more than that. We are not just awareness, we are participation. Each thought you think, each breath you take, stretches the fabric a little, adds tension, adds beauty. The dream is not happening to you, it's happening through you. And maybe, just maybe, space-time dreams too. Black holes may not be voids, but seeds. Gateways where the fabric folds so tightly that it awakens. When matter falls in, it doesn't disappear, it transforms. Information, compressed to its limits, may leak into another form of existence, another region of the same infinite cloth. Death, in this sense, is not an end, but a rearrangement, a reweaving of patterns. Even the universe itself may one day fall asleep and dream again. Billions of years from now, when the last stars have faded, space-time may grow quiet. The hum may soften to a whisper. But silence is not nothing, it's rest. And from that rest, another vibration will rise, another dream will begin. So when you feel small, remember, you are not a grain of dust lost in space. You are a moment of awareness inside the fabric that dreams. The atoms of your body, the rhythm of your pulse, the electricity of your thoughts, all are waves in that same endless sea. Space is not cold, it is alive. It dreams you, and through you, it remembers itself. And as you drift to sleep tonight, imagine the fabric of the universe folding softly around you, not as emptiness, but as warmth. Feel it vibrate through your breath, through your heartbeat, through the quiet hum behind every sound. You are not falling into sleep, you are falling back into the dream that began everything. There is a quiet order to the universe, one that hides beneath the surface of things. You can feel it in the way snowflakes grow in perfect symmetry, in the spiral of a seashell, in the swirl of a hurricane, in the curve of a galaxy. It is as if everything from atoms to stars follows the same invisible blueprint, a sacred pattern written into the language of existence. This is the hidden geometry of the cosmos, the architecture behind all creation. Geometry is not merely a human invention. It is the shape that the universe takes when it begins to dream. Every structure, every movement, every breath of energy follows proportion, rhythm, and pattern. The circle, the spiral, the wave, the lattice, these are not just shapes. They are the grammar of being. If you could look close enough, deeper than microscopes allow, you would see that even the smallest particles arrange themselves according to mathematical symmetry. Quarks, electrons, and photons all vibrate in patterns that mirror one another. The invisible quantum fields that weave the world together behave like chords struck on a single cosmic instrument. And when you zoom out to the scale of galaxies and beyond, the same geometry repeats. The filaments of dark matter form vast webs, nodes where galaxies cluster like neurons in a cosmic brain. Spiral galaxies curve according to the golden ratio, the same proportion found in sunflowers, pine cones, and ocean shells. It is as though the universe keeps drawing the same design at every scale, whispering through repetition, "This is who I am." This pattern has no author. It isn't imposed from above. It emerges naturally, like harmony forming from noise. The Greeks called it cosmos, order arising from chaos. They saw in geometry a reflection of divine mind, the pure thought from which reality unfolds. But perhaps geometry isn't the product of intelligence. Perhaps geometry is intelligence, the way the universe thinks. Mathematicians describe the laws that govern this order in equations so elegant they seem to border on poetry. E equals m squared. The equation that unites matter and energy fits perfectly into this symmetry. The same simplicity governs relativity, electromagnetism, and even the curvature of space-time. Nature prefers balance. It builds complexity from simplicity, richness from restraint. Even life follows the pattern. DNA coils in a double helix, an elegant twist that echoes the spirals of galaxies. The heart's rhythm follows fractal waves, not random, but self-similar, infinitely repeating in variation. Neurons branch like lightning and rivers, connecting thought in the same geometry that connects rain to the sea. The universe uses one design for everything, because it has only one purpose: to express itself. Perhaps beauty is simply our recognition of that pattern. When you see something beautiful, a flower unfolding, a coastline seen from the sky, the soft curl of smoke, your mind resonates with its geometry. You feel harmony because you are made of the same proportions. Beauty, then, is the soul remembering its own structure. The physicist Paul Dirac once said, "It is more important to have beauty in one's equations than to have them fit experiment." He understood that elegance is not decoration, it's evidence. When something is beautiful and simple, it's probably true, because truth itself is harmony. The universe doesn't waste energy. It builds everything with balance and precision. Even chaos has structure. When waves crash, when lightning flashes, when galaxies collide, it looks wild, but beneath that motion lies order. Chaos is geometry too, just geometry too complex for us to trace. What we call disorder is only design too vast for our understanding. There is another kind of geometry, one not seen, but felt. The geometry of relationships, of rhythm and flow. When two people move in harmony, their heartbeats synchronize. When a group of musicians play together, their brainwaves align. Even your own thoughts form geometric patterns in the electromagnetic fields of your brain. We are all patterns within patterns, resonances inside resonances. Perhaps that's why music and math feel so similar. Both are languages of proportion, symmetry, and repetition. Both describe the same invisible shapes, one through sound, the other through number. When you listen to a song that moves you, you are hearing geometry made audible. Ancient philosophers sensed this connection long before modern science could prove it. They spoke of the music of the spheres, the idea that the planets, as they move through the heavens, create an inaudible harmony. It wasn't a metaphor. They believed that everything vibrates together in ratios, and that those ratios form both sound and structure. Now, through gravitational wave detectors and radio telescopes, we are beginning to hear that music again. The harmony they imagined is real, just slower, deeper, vaster than any human ear could once perceive. Geometry bridges the physical and the metaphysical. It turns the unseen into form. When light passes through a prism, it reveals color. When energy moves through geometry, it reveals matter. Every pattern of atoms, every crystal lattice, every orbit, every spiral is the echo of energy obeying shape. The universe doesn't build randomly. It composes with precision, and yet, within that precision, there is freedom. The geometry of the cosmos is not rigid, it is alive. It expands, bends, adapts. Like a dancer moving within choreography, matter flows along curves while improvising at every step. The laws of physics provide rhythm, but existence writes its own melody. You are part of that design. The space between your atoms mirrors the space between the stars. The patterns that form your heartbeat mirror the pulsations of distant suns. You are the same geometry, expressed on a different scale. That's why when you look up at the sky and feel awe, what you are really feeling is recognition, a deep knowing that the structure of your being is the same as the structure of the whole. If you could trace the geometry of your life, every meeting, every loss, every choice you might see, that it too forms a pattern. Moments repeating in spirals, lessons returning at higher levels, cycles of growth and release. The universe expresses geometry not only in stars and atoms, but in experience. Every emotion, every relationship, every dream is part of a grand design unfolding in time. Maybe destiny is geometry too, the curve of your path through possibility. Maybe free will is the way you move along that curve, shaping it, feeling it, bending it just slightly toward meaning. The pattern exists, but you are the living thread that weaves it. When you stand still, when you breathe, when you listen, the pattern emerges around you. You can feel it in the air, in the sound of your pulse, in the rhythm of waves on shore. You belong to the same mathematics as light, the same equation as gravity, the same symmetry as galaxies. So tonight, let yourself dissolve into that realization. You are not separate from the geometry of the universe. You are the geometry of the universe. The curve of your spine, the rhythm of your breath, the spark of your neurons are all reflections of the golden spiral, the fractal design that holds everything together. When you sleep, the stars continue to move in patterns older than memory. When you dream, those same patterns appear in your imagination as symbols and forms. Geometry never stops. It only changes scale. And if the universe truly dreams, then geometry is the language of that dream, the map it draws to find itself again and again. What if awareness is not an accident of matter, but one of the forces that shapes it? What if consciousness isn't a byproduct of the universe, but one of its engines, an invisible current that flows through everything, as fundamental as gravity or light? For centuries, science separated mind from matter. The physical world was thought to move on its own, governed by blind laws. Thought, emotion, perception, these were private shadows that disappeared when we closed our eyes. But the deeper we look, the less that separation holds. In quantum physics, observation changes reality. A particle exists as a wave of possibilities until someone looks. Then, one outcome crystallizes and becomes real. Awareness, it seems, participates in creation. Maybe consciousness is not something the universe produced after billions of years of evolution. Maybe the universe has been conscious all along, not in a human way, not with thought or language, but in a silent, pervasive awareness that feels itself through every vibration of space. The stars, the oceans, the atoms, all shimmering with a faint hum of knowing. If that sounds mystical, remember, everything that exists responds to information. Every particle carries it, exchanges it, processes it. Information is the currency of reality. And what is awareness, if not information knowing itself? Consider this. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. Yet it took almost all of that time for it to create something capable of looking back you. Consciousness may be rare in form, but it is inevitable in purpose. The cosmos has been unfolding towards self-recognition since the first flicker of light. From the swirl of galaxies to the firing of neurons, everything has been building mirrors. Each time you open your eyes, the universe wakes up a little more. Each thought, each act of wonder, is it recognizing its own reflection? Neuroscience shows that the human brain hums with electrical storms of unimaginable complexity, 86 billion neurons, each connected to thousands of others, firing patterns that resemble the structure of galaxies. When seen from afar, a brain and the cosmic web look astonishingly alike. Perhaps that's no coincidence. Perhaps the same principles that shape the stars also shape thought. If consciousness is a force, it doesn't push or pull, it illuminates. It makes potential visible. Gravity gives matter shape, but awareness gives it meaning. Without awareness, even the most beautiful galaxy would exist in silence, unseen, uncelebrated. Consciousness turns existence into experience. It is the universe not just being, but knowing that it is. Some physicists have begun to wonder whether consciousness might be woven into the fabric of reality itself, a fundamental field, like electromagnetism. Others speak of panpsychism, the idea that every particle carries a spark of experience, a micro-awareness that, when combined, forms greater minds. In that view, a star, a tree, or a person are not separate categories, but different densities of the same luminous principle. Think of a drop of water in the ocean. It's small, yet inseparable from the sea. In the same way, your consciousness is not isolated. It is a local wave in the infinite ocean of awareness. When you feel awe, when you lose yourself in music or silence, the boundary between you and the whole dissolves. You return, for a moment, to the larger field that birthed you. Perhaps this is why meditation, art, and love feel sacred. They align you with that field. They quiet the noise of thought and let the deeper current rise, the current that doesn't think but feels existence. You can sense it in the stillness after rain, in the heartbeat that echoes softly in your chest, in the way starlight seems to know exactly where to fall. Science, for all its equations, cannot measure this directly, but it keeps brushing against it. Quantum experiments show entanglement, two particles separated by vast distances that behave as one, responding instantaneously to each other. It's as if information, or awareness, transcends space. What if entanglement is consciousness at work, maintaining unity beneath the illusion of distance? Maybe consciousness doesn't arise within the brain. Maybe the brain is a receiver, a finely tuned instrument that picks up a universal broadcast and translates it into thought and emotion. When the instrument stops playing, the music doesn't end. It simply plays elsewhere. If this is true, then death is not disappearance, but transition. The melody changes key, the pattern rearranges. The awareness that looked through your eyes returns to the larger field from which it came, the same field that shines in the eyes of every living thing. Even the act of dreaming hints at this truth. When you dream, entire worlds appear within you. Oceans, cities, faces, suns. In those moments, you are both the dreamer and the dream. Consciousness creates, inhabits, and observes itself simultaneously. Could the universe be doing the same on a grander scale? Are we living inside the dream of cosmic mind, each of us a point of awareness through which it experiences its own infinite imagination? If consciousness is a force, it may be the one that binds all others together. It is the bridge between energy and meaning, between the mechanical and the miraculous. It gives gravity its story, light its beauty, time its flow. Without it, the universe would still exist, but it would not matter. When you stand under the night sky and feel wonder, that feeling is the proof. It's not an illusion created by the brain. It's the resonance between the small awareness inside you and the vast awareness beyond you. It's the field recognizing itself. This understanding doesn't diminish science, it deepens it. Every discovery from DNA to dark matter is consciousness exploring itself through curiosity. Every telescope is an eye the universe built to admire its own art. Every question you ask is the cosmos thinking aloud. So when you feel lost or small, remember, the force that spins galaxies is the same force that allows you to wonder why. Awareness is not trapped in your skull. It fills the air between stars, the space between thoughts, the silence between breaths. You are not simply in the universe. You are the universe, awake for a little while, studying its own reflection. And perhaps that's all consciousness ever wanted to know, what it feels like to be everything and someone at the same time. At the smallest scales of existence, the universe stops behaving like a machine and starts behaving like a mystery. Beneath the atom, beneath even the proton and neutron, lies a world that doesn't follow the logic of everyday life. It flickers, it contradicts, it changes when you look at it. Here, reality is not a solid thing, but a shimmering possibility, a quantum mirage that vanishes the moment you try to hold it still. For most of human history, we imagined the world as made of tiny, indivisible particles, solid building blocks, like grains of sand. But the deeper physicists looked, the less solid those blocks became. Instead of neat orbits and predictable paths, they found clouds of probability waves of potential that could exist in many places at once. An electron isn't somewhere, it is everywhere, until something observes it. That observation, just the act of measurement, causes the wave to collapse into one definite outcome. The particle chooses a location, a spin, a state of being. Before that, it is a ghost of all possibilities. This is called the observer effect, and it is one of the strangest truths ever discovered. The universe waits to be seen. In the double-slit experiment, light behaves like a wave when unobserved, spreading and interfering with itself. But the moment it's measured, it behaves like a particle, choosing one slit or the other. The difference is awareness. Somehow, consciousness changes the way reality unfolds. The universe seems to know when it is being watched. Some call this coincidence or misinterpretation. Others suspect it hints at something deeper, that reality is not a fixed thing out there, but a relationship between the observer and the observed. When no one looks, the universe exists as potential, a sea of probabilities. When awareness touches it, the probabilities crystallize into form. That means the physical world may not be fundamental. The underlying layer of existence is not matter, but possibility. The universe is a kind of dream, constantly choosing which parts to make real, guided by the gaze of awareness. This doesn't mean that reality is a hallucination. It means that reality is interactive. You are not a spectator in a pre-written play. You are a participant, shaping the script as you watch it unfold. The wave collapses, not just because it must, but because you are there to witness it. The physicist John Wheeler once summarized it beautifully. No phenomenon is a real phenomenon until it is an observed phenomenon. To him, the universe was not a machine winding on its own, but a self-excited circuit, a feedback loop of awareness, observing itself into being. The cosmos, in this view, is not a cold object. It is a conversation. Every moment of perception is part of that dialogue. The colors you see, the sounds you hear, the sensations you feel, are not things arriving from outside. They are interactions between you and the quantum field. Photons strike your eyes and trigger electrical waves in your brain, but the experience of color, of light, of meaning emerges in the meeting point between matter and mind. Consciousness doesn't just witness the world, it creates the way the world appears, and the world responds. When scientists entangle two particles, they become linked so intimately that their states remain connected, even across galaxies. Change one, and the other changes instantly, as if distance doesn't exist. This isn't magic, it's physics, but it feels like something more, a glimpse of the unity behind the mirage. What looks like two separate objects is actually one system stretched across space and time. If you could see reality as it truly is, you might not see objects at all, but relationships, waves overlapping, vibrating, harmonizing, a constant exchange of information, everything influencing everything else. The distinction between this and that would blur, like reflections merging on a lake. Perhaps this is why mystics and scientists, in their different languages, describe the same truth, that separation is illusion. The quantum mirage hides unity beneath multiplicity. Even time dissolves in this realm. Quantum mechanics allows particles to move backward, to interfere with their own past, to exist in multiple times simultaneously. In this microscopic dance, causality becomes circular. The future and the past whisper to each other, deciding the present together. It is as though the universe writes itself both forward and backward in time. If this sounds impossible, it's because our everyday senses evolved for a slower world. We are tuned to macroscopic order, where things hold still long enough for us to name them. But beneath that stability, everything is movement, flux, vibration, possibilities blooming and collapsing endlessly. If that's true, then even silence is alive with potential. Every pause, every breath, is the space between possibilities. The universe listens there, waiting to see what awareness will choose next. Maybe that's why meditation feels powerful. When you quiet your thoughts, the boundaries blur. The waves of possibility expand again. The rigid world softens back into the infinite field it came from. You stop forcing reality to collapse into forms, and instead drift with it, as it truly is, fluid, shimmering, whole. Perhaps the quantum mirage is not a deception but an act of compassion. The infinite must appear finite so that experience can happen. The eternal must pretend to be temporary so that love, curiosity, and meaning can exist. The dream must forget itself for a while in order to awaken anew. When you understand that, the strangeness of quantum mechanics becomes comforting. It means that uncertainty is not failure, it's freedom. The world is not rigid, it's alive. Every moment is a choice between infinite futures. Every observation is an act of creation. So when you open your eyes tomorrow, remember, you are not simply seeing the world, you are co-creating it. You are awareness, collapsing infinity into a moment, shaping the wave into a life, painting reality onto the canvas of space and time. The quantum field is the universe's imagination, and through you, it dreams in color. Imagine that everything you see, everything you feel, everything you are, is part of a single dream. Not your dream, but the universe's. A dream so vast and ancient that it doesn't have a beginning or an end, only an unfolding. Stars, galaxies, atoms, and minds, all flickering thoughts inside that infinite sleep. It's easy to think of the universe as a thing, an object out there beyond our reach. But what if it isn't a thing at all? What if it's a thought, a living imagination that creates reality as effortlessly as you create a dream while sleeping? Every sunrise, every planet, every heartbeat, all waves in a single ocean of awareness. If the universe dreams, then every atom is part of its imagination. Every photon is a flash of insight. Every black hole is a moment of forgetting, a pause, a breath, a deep silence before the next thought begins. And we, the small creatures, who look up at the stars and ask, why? Are the universe wondering about its own dream? There is something profoundly gentle about this idea. It suggests that existence isn't mechanical or accidental, but creative, that being is an art, not an accident. The galaxies aren't just collections of matter obeying equations. They are expressions of cosmic intention, vast brushstrokes of light painted across space-time. When you dream at night, the people, landscapes, and skies you see feel real. They have color, sound, texture, emotion, but they are made of the same substance as your mind. They are thoughts made vivid. So too, perhaps, is everything around us matter as condensed imagination, energy, as awareness taking form. Modern physics hints at this in strange ways. Quantum mechanics shows that the act of observation brings reality into being. Relativity reveals that time and space bend, stretch, and flow like ideas rather than things. Even consciousness itself, the one thing we cannot measure directly, seems to exist everywhere, from the smallest quantum event to the grandest cluster of galaxies. Maybe the universe is not a physical object within space, but the dream of space awareness, imagining geometry, vibration, and dimension. In that case, waking life is not separate from dreaming life. Both are stories told by the same storyteller. And like all dreams, the universe has rhythm, creation and dissolution, expansion and contraction, awakening and rest. The Big Bang may have been one such breath, the moment the dreamer inhaled and light filled the void. Billions of years from now, another exhale will come. Stars will fade, galaxies will dim, and the dream will settle again into silence. But the silence will not be nothing. It will be the pause before another dream begins. Every night, when you fall asleep, you are replaying this cosmic rhythm. You dissolve into darkness, forgetting your name, your story, your world. And then, from that stillness, new worlds bloom in your mind. When you wake, you call those dreams unreal, but they felt real when you were inside them. Perhaps the universe does the same, waking and sleeping on scales of billions of years, never truly ending, always transforming. If the universe dreams, then memory itself is part of that dream. Every star keeps a record of what it has been, its temperature, its age, its chemical song. Every rock on Earth holds the memory of heat and pressure, of oceans and fire. Even you are made of memory, the light of ancient stars turned into consciousness, remembering what it once was. And maybe, when we wonder about the cosmos, we are remembering too. Somewhere deep inside, your atoms remember the first explosion of light, the expansion of space, the birth of time. That's why looking at the stars can feel like déjà vu. You have been here before, as hydrogen, as dust, as energy. The universe never stopped dreaming you. If all this sounds poetic, it's because poetry is the closest language we have for truth. The logic of dreams isn't linear. It moves in symbols, in rhythms, in echoes. And perhaps the universe speaks that way too. Galaxies spiral like nautilus shells. The moon tugs on the tides of the mind. Lightning cracks in fractal patterns identical to neurons. The same dream repeating in infinite forms. Even consciousness itself drifts through states like phases of the moon, waking, sleeping, dreaming, reflecting. Each human life is a smaller version of the universal cycle. Birth, growth, rest, renewal. You are the cosmos practicing awareness in miniature. And if the universe dreams, then love may be the deepest dream of all the force that reconnects the fragments of the whole. Love is gravity for the soul, the pull that reminds every separate piece that it was never truly apart. When you love, you remember unity. You remember that everything you see is yourself in another form. There is comfort in this. It means that even loss is not final. When someone dies, their pattern doesn't vanish. The wave falls, but the ocean remains. Their consciousness returns to the larger field, the dreamer behind all dreams. In that sense, nothing ever truly ends. It only changes shape within the dream. When you close your eyes tonight, the world doesn't disappear. It transforms. You slip beneath the surface of waking reality into another layer of the same dream. There, the boundaries of space and time loosen. You can fly, dissolve, remember forgotten things. The laws of physics bend, but the feeling of existence remains. What if death is simply the same? The moment when the soul wakes up from one version of the dream into another. Some scientists have begun to wonder whether our universe might be part of a larger multiverse, countless universes bubbling and branching like thoughts in a sleeping mind, each with different laws, different stories, different versions of you. If so, then creation is infinite, dreaming itself forever in new forms. Perhaps that's why we dream as humans, because we are fragments of the larger dreamer, still learning to imagine. Every time you dream, the universe experiences itself anew, through your eyes, your fears, your love. Every time you awaken, it awakens a little more. And maybe, when you die, the universe will remember you as it remembers everything, as a vibration that never truly stopped, as a dream that made it richer. So tonight, as you drift towards sleep, imagine this. The stars above you are not distant suns, but thoughts still unfolding. The darkness between them is not empty, but full of silent creation. And you, small, breathing, luminous, are part of that same dream. Symmetry is nature's language of perfection. It means that something remains unchanged, even when it's transformed. Turn a snowflake, and its pattern still matches itself. Reflect a butterfly's wing, and each side mirrors the other. The universe speaks through this language, repeating forms, preserving ratios, ensuring that the same laws apply everywhere. But symmetry isn't just about shapes. It is the deep logic of existence. Every law of physics is a symmetry in disguise, a statement that something stays constant as the world shifts around it. Energy remains the same, no matter when an experiment is performed. Momentum stays constant, no matter where it happens. Charge never changes, no matter how we turn the equations. These symmetries are the reasons why reality behaves consistently. They are the grammar of the cosmos, ensuring that creation doesn't unravel into chaos. At the beginning of time, when the universe was newborn, matter and antimatter existed in equal amounts, perfect symmetry. But then, for reasons no one yet understands, a tiny imbalance occurred. For every billion particles of antimatter, there were 1,000,000,001 particles of matter. When they annihilated each other, that one extra bit of matter remained. That imbalance became everything: stars, oceans, cells, thought, to place. You are here because symmetry broke by one part in a billion. Even your body carries this cosmic fingerprint. The DNA that spirals through your cells twists only in one direction left-handed. No one knows why nature chose that bias, but it's another reminder that asymmetry births meaning. Perfection might be divine, but imperfection is alive. Scientists searching for the universe's ultimate theory, a single equation to unite all forces, believe that symmetry holds the key. They call it supersymmetry, the idea that every particle has a hidden twin, a counterpart that balances it perfectly. Matter and force, light and darkness, attraction and repulsion, each part of the universe mirroring another. If supersymmetry exists, then reality is a grand reflection of itself, folding infinitely inward. But there's beauty, even in broken symmetry. When the universe cooled after the Big Bang, its perfect balance shattered like glass. From that breaking came structure. The ripples of that event still shape the cosmic web today. Clusters of galaxies stretched across space in patterns that look almost organic, like neurons or coral reefs. Every broken symmetry leaves behind fingerprints of creation. You can feel this hidden balance in your own life. Every joy has its sorrow, every triumph its shadow. Pain and peace exist as complements, not opposites. Just as light cannot exist without darkness, fulfillment cannot exist without longing. The universe doesn't divide them. It unites them into a whole. Every symmetry you experience in emotion mirrors a deeper symmetry in existence. Perhaps this is why we find symmetry beautiful. A face, a pattern, a chord that feels balanced, touches something deep in us. It resonates with the geometry of our own being. Beauty is not arbitrary. It is the recognition of harmony. When you find something beautiful, you are feeling the echo of cosmic order. Your neurons, your senses, your awareness all align for a moment with the universe's hidden equilibrium. There is symmetry too, in time. Every birth mirrors a death. Every ending makes room for a beginning. Planets orbit in cycles, seasons repeat, civilizations rise and fall in waves. The arrow of time feels linear to us, but viewed from above, from the scale of eternity, it loops, spirals, reflects. Creation and destruction are not enemies. They are twin halves of one eternal motion. Even consciousness follows this pattern. You breathe in awareness, and you breathe it out again. You wake, you dream, you sleep, and you wake again. The mind expands and contracts, mirroring the rhythm of the cosmos. Awareness itself might be the most perfect symmetry of all infinite stillness, reflecting through endless motion. Some physicists wonder whether the universe itself has a mirror, another cosmos, hidden but entangled with ours. They call it the mirror universe, or shadow universe. In it, time might flow backward, matter might invert, and our actions might echo faintly as reflections. Whether literal or symbolic, the idea captures something profound. The universe completes itself through reflection. What happens here resonates there, and together they form one whole. Symmetry teaches us that opposites are illusions. There is no good without evil, no chaos without order, no self without other. Each defines the other, each depends on the other, each reflects the other endlessly. To fight one side is to forget the mirror. So when life feels uneven, when something breaks or vanishes, remember this: the break is part of the balance. The asymmetry you feel is not a flaw, it is the engine of becoming. The universe expands because it is slightly off balance. You grow because you are unfinished. If you could see yourself the way the universe does, you would see a perfect symmetry, not of form, but of purpose. Every loss balanced by growth, every silence by sound, every question by wonder. The pattern holds, even when you can't trace it. Look at your reflection, and you will see the universe staring back. Look at the stars, and they will mirror your thoughts. The symmetry is everywhere, between galaxies, between lovers, between breaths. The hidden symmetry of existence is not a secret to be solved. It is a relationship to be felt. It is the rhythm beneath all opposites, the quiet balance that makes everything whole. Every atom in your body was once part of something greater: the dust of stars, the fire of suns, the gravity of galaxies. The carbon in your bones, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your teeth, all were born in stellar furnaces that exploded billions of years ago, scattering their elements across the dark. Those elements drifted, gathered, became planets, oceans, creatures, and finally, you. When you breathe, the air that fills your lungs carries atoms that once belonged to trees, mountains, oceans, and other lives long gone. The molecules in your blood might have once belonged to a bird, a river, a cloud. Separation, it turns out, is only a story the mind tells. The universe does not divide itself the way we do. It doesn't see you as apart from it. It breathes through you, thinks through you, observes itself through your eyes. You are not living in the universe. You are the universe, briefly aware of its own being. But still, we forget. We build boundaries between mind and body, self and other, life and death, us and them. These divisions are convenient, but they are also illusions, surface ripples on a deeper unity. Beneath them flows an unbroken sea. Consider a wave on the ocean. It rises, moves, curls, and disappears. From a distance, it looks like an individual thing, separate from the water around it. But in truth, it was never separate. The wave is the ocean, temporarily taking shape. It has no beginning or end beyond the movement of the sea itself. You, too, are a wave, a pattern in the great field of awareness, a temporary form of the infinite ocean. When you say, I, you name that wave. But the I is not isolated. It's a point of focus in the whole. Every thought, every breath, every heartbeat is the universe observing itself through your unique rhythm. Quantum physics gives us a glimpse of this unity. It tells us that everything is connected at the smallest scales. Particles that once interacted remain entangled, no matter how far apart they drift. A change in one instantly affects the other, as though distance doesn't exist. The same principle applies everywhere. Space and time are not absolute. They are relationships. Everything influences everything else. The illusion of separation arises from perception from the limits of our senses. We see only surfaces, hear only vibrations within a narrow range, feel only what touches our skin. Our brains assemble these fragments into the story of me and the world. But beyond those limits, the boundaries vanish. The air you breathe enters your body and becomes part of you. Then it leaves and becomes part of everything else again. Even the space between objects isn't truly empty. It hums with invisible energy, with the same quantum fields that give rise to all form. That is what love truly is, the recognition of self in another form. When you look into someone's eyes and feel connection real, wordless, timeless, that is the illusion breaking for a moment. You see through the boundary. You remember that you and the other are two waves in the same sea, moving together in rhythm. Even pain carries this memory. The ache of loss, the loneliness of distance, these are the feelings of unity, longing to be remembered. When we grieve, it's not for something we've lost forever, but for something that has changed form. The connection still exists. It's simply invisible to the senses. Energy doesn't disappear. Neither does love. It only transforms, flowing back into the whole. The trees outside your window, the stars burning silently above, the strangers passing in the street, all are parts of the same vast organism. You are not living on the earth. You are the earth. You are not gazing at the universe. You are the universe looking at itself. The illusion of separation is beautiful, but temporary, like the surface of water catching light before returning to calm. Even time cannot divide you from the whole. The future you will one day become and the past you have already been exist together in the same continuum. The consciousness that inhabits your body now is ancient. It has worn countless forms, learned countless lessons. You are the continuation of everything that ever lived, and you will continue still, long after this form dissolves. The atoms that hold you together today will one day flow into clouds, rivers, and other lives. So when you feel alone, remember this: you are never outside the circle. You are the circle. You are the heartbeat of the universe echoing in human form. The air, the water, the sunlight, the stardust, they don't surround you, they are you. The illusion of separation fades when we learn to listen. In stillness, in meditation, in deep love, the walls soften. You can feel the pulse of the world beating in time with your own. You can sense the quiet recognition between all living things. You can hear the whisper that says, "There is no other. There is only us." That whisper is the universe remembering itself. Every act of kindness, every shared smile, every moment of compassion weakens the illusion. When you love, when you forgive, when you reach out, you dissolve the boundaries a little more. Eventually, perhaps, the universe will awaken fully from its self-created separation. Every consciousness will remember its source. Every wave will return to the ocean, not as loss, but as homecoming. The illusion will have served its purpose. It will have taught the infinite what it means to be many and what it means to reunite. Until then, each of us carries the light of connection, hidden beneath the mask of individuality. We are the universe, playing the oldest game, pretending to be apart, only to rediscover unity again and again. Imagine the first light that ever existed, born from the Big Bang nearly 14 billion years ago. It began as a blinding surge, pure energy without form. Over the ages, it cooled and slowed, spreading across space, turning into matter, into stars, into worlds, into minds, capable of seeing that same light. The photon that strikes your eye tonight may have begun its journey before Earth existed, and in that light, you are touching infinity, not metaphorically, but literally. You are feeling the oldest memory in the universe. Infinity does not mean endless repetition. It means endless possibility. It is not a straight line without a stop. It is a circle so large that every point connects to every other. It folds back on itself, intertwining beginnings with endings until there is no difference between them. Death becomes birth. Silence becomes sound. Every farewell contains a greeting. Every loss, a continuation. When you listen to the waves of the ocean, you are hearing infinity in motion. Water rising and falling, never beginning, never ending, repeating without truly repeating. The same is true of galaxies. They spiral in endless dance, creating new stars as others fade. The universe renews itself in patterns so vast we cannot see them, but they are there, echoing in everything from atoms to thoughts. Even your breath is part of that rhythm. You inhale and exhale, the same air that passed through countless lungs before yours. Animals, ancestors, trees. You are participating in a cycle billions of years old. When you breathe, you are echoing infinity in miniature. If you were to travel to the farthest edge of the cosmos, if there even is such a thing, you might find yourself returning to where you began. Infinity is not just vastness, it is continuity. It ensures that nothing is ever truly lost, only transformed. When a star dies, its ashes scatter and become the raw material for new worlds. When a life ends, its atoms continue their work elsewhere. Every ending reverberates through eternity as a beginning in disguise. You, too, are part of that eternal recycling. The thoughts you think, the words you speak, the kindness you show, they ripple outward, touching others in ways you may never know. The energy of those moments continues, moving through space and memory. Every smile, every act of love, every spark of creativity becomes an echo, bouncing across the infinite hall of existence. Even the quiet moments, the ones where you feel unseen, unheard, forgotten, leave their mark. The universe is not a void, it is a listener. It records everything, not in books or sounds, but in the subtle geometry of space-time itself. The vibrations of your life join the great chorus of being. Nothing fades completely. Every whisper, every heartbeat, every prayer becomes part of the fabric that holds the cosmos together. Perhaps that is why we feel nostalgia, a longing that has no clear source. Somewhere deep within, we sense the infinite past and future touching the present. We remember stars we never saw, lives we never lived, and moments that feel familiar though they've never happened. Infinity does not forget. It flows through us as memory disguised as emotion. There are theories that the universe may one day collapse back into itself, the Big Crunch, where expansion reverses and everything returns to unity. Others imagine the opposite, the heat death, a slow fading into cold stillness. But maybe both are true. Perhaps infinity doesn't move in one direction, but cycles, breathing in and out forever. Creation, rest, renewal, like the rhythm of your heart scaled to eternity. When you die, your consciousness may dissolve into that same rhythm, not gone, but transformed, like a note returning to the symphony, indistinguishable yet essential. Infinity never wastes a sound. Every vibration finds its way home. Sometimes, when you look at a candle flame, you can sense this truth. The flame dances, changes, consumes itself, but the light remains constant. The photons leaving that candle may travel forever, crossing galaxies long after the wax and wick are gone. They will touch worlds you will never see, and in that light, a piece of your gaze, your presence, will travel too. You are part of that journey, a signal traveling through the infinite. If there is a meaning to infinity, perhaps it is this: nothing is separate, and nothing ends. Every thought echoes. Every life ripples. Every beginning repeats. The universe is not a story with a final page, but a poem without a last line. So when you sit in silence and feel the immensity pressing gently around you, don't be afraid. That feeling of vastness is not emptiness, it's recognition. It's infinity, remembering itself through you. And one day, when your body returns to dust, when your atoms scatter back into starlight, you will continue in ways too subtle to imagine. A leaf, a raindrop, a photon, a dream. You will echo across time, as everything does, forever. Because in the end, there is no end. There is only the endless echo, the universe listening to its own heartbeat, again and again. There are kinds of light the eyes will never see, radiance so vast, so ancient, so pure, that it lives beyond the reach of perception. We call it by many names: mystery, divinity, singularity, truth. It is the light that exists, not to be seen, but to be felt. The invisible flame at the heart of everything. The light beyond understanding is not just the glow of stars or the flicker of photons bouncing through space. It is the awareness behind them, the intelligence woven through them, the stillness that shines even in darkness. It is what remains when every equation falters, when language ends, when the mind kneels before what it cannot contain. Every culture that has ever looked to the heavens has spoken of this light. The Vedas called it Brahman, the unmanifest source of all form. The mystics of the West named it the divine spark. Physicists, in their own way, describe it as the pure energy field, the quantum vacuum, the 0 point, the ground of being. Different words for the same truth, that everything we see is the shadow of a brilliance too vast for the senses to bear. When you look at a star, what you see is light that has traveled across unimaginable distances. Yet even that is a whisper compared to the luminosity of what lies beneath the ceaseless radiance that fuels not only suns, but existence itself. Science tells us that light is both particle and wave, energy and information. It is the fastest thing in the universe, yet it also defines the flow of time. But light is more than a physical phenomenon. It is the oldest symbol of knowing. To bring something to light means to understand it. To be enlightened means to awaken. Light and consciousness are mirrors, both reveal, both create. Perhaps that is because, at their deepest level, they are one and the same. Every thought that flickers in your mind is a kind of light, an electrical pulse firing through neurons, turning information into awareness. Every heartbeat sends electromagnetic ripples through your body, connecting you to the same spectrum of energy that fills the stars. Even in darkness, your body glows faintly in infrared, radiating warmth like a quiet Sunday. You are not surrounded by light. You are light, slowed down and made visible. We can glimpse this hidden luminosity in the smallest things. In the way sunlight filters through leaves, creating patterns no artist could replicate. In the way an infant's laugh seems to vibrate with something eternal. In the soft radiance of compassion, when you hold another's pain as your own. These are not accidents of biology. They are moments when the deeper light shines through the surface. Mystics across ages have described encountering this light directly, not through sight, but through awareness. They speak of a brilliance beyond color, a radiance without heat, an overwhelming peace that feels like remembering. To them, it is not metaphor but experience. The recognition that everything is illuminated from within. You don't have to be a mystic to sense it. Close your eyes. Notice the soft glow behind your eyelids. Notice the flicker of awareness that perceives it. The light you see is not external. It's the pulse of consciousness itself, the inner horizon of being. It never turns off. Even in sleep, even in death, it continues, flowing through forms like sunlight through glass. The light beyond understanding cannot be captured by thought, because thought itself is its reflection. You cannot describe it any more than a flame can explain its own heat, but you can feel it in stillness, in awe, in love. Sometimes, late at night, when the world grows quiet and the mind softens, you can sense it moving behind everything. The air vibrates, the stars seem alive, the silence glows. It is not imagination, it is recognition. The same energy that drives galaxies is breathing through you. Science may one day measure more of this light, not as metaphor, but as truth. Quantum fields hum beneath existence, radiating energy even in perfect vacuum. Cosmologists speak of dark energy, an invisible pressure expanding the universe at accelerating speed. What if that darkness is simply light too subtle to detect? What if the void is luminous and we are still learning how to see? There may be other kinds of light, yet undiscovered, wavelengths of consciousness itself, carrying not energy, but meaning. The cosmos could be glowing with awareness, each star a neuron in an infinite mind. And you, one spark of that same illumination, temporarily shaped into form. When we finally understand that, we may realize that enlightenment isn't something to reach, it's something to remember. We were never apart from the light, we only forgot. We looked outward for what was always shining inward. The light beyond understanding doesn't need belief or explanation. It simply is. It shines through joy and sorrow, through creation and decay, through every heartbeat of existence. It is the quiet awareness that watches suns rise and fall without blinking. And when your life reaches its twilight, when your body dissolves and your name fades, that light will still be there, not waiting, but welcoming, because it never left. You were made of it. You will return to it. You never stopped being it. So look to the stars not as distant fires, but as reminders. Each one is a message from the infinite. You are made of me. You have never been alone. You shine still. Every time you lift your eyes to the sky, the universe meets your gaze. You think you are looking outward at the stars, the galaxies, the soft band of the Milky Way. But in truth, you are looking inward through the eyes of the cosmos itself. You are not a spectator standing apart from creation. You are creation, seeing itself for the first time. Somewhere in the deep silence of space, light from a star begins its journey. It travels for millions, sometimes billions of years, crossing the invisible threads of gravity, weaving through dust and darkness, until it touches your eyes. For the briefest moment, that ancient light and your consciousness meet two travelers from opposite ends of time. And in that meeting, the universe becomes aware of itself. This is the quiet secret hidden behind existence, that seeing is not a one-way act. Every observation, every breath of wonder, every spark of curiosity completes a circle. You look at the stars, and the stars look back through you. Awareness meets awareness. Infinity recognizes its own reflection. When you were born, a small part of the universe awoke to itself in a new way. It learned how to taste air, to feel warmth, to speak its own name. Through your senses, the cosmos began to explore itself more intimately: the roughness of stone, the rhythm of rain, the salt of tears. Each human life is a new window through which the universe looks, a new angle of perception from which it can admire its own art. For billions of years, it expanded in silence, burning and folding, waiting. Then, out of dust and light, it created something capable of asking questions. It built minds from matter, awareness from atoms, so that it could see itself not just as energy, but as meaning. Consciousness is not a coincidence. It is the universe learning to reflect. When a physicist measures the motion of a particle, when a poet describes the color of dawn, when a child looks into a puddle and sees the sky, these are all acts of the cosmos studying its own face. Every form of curiosity, from the equations of science to the longings of the heart, is the same gesture repeated endlessly, the infinite trying to understand itself. The atoms that make up your eyes were forged in ancient suns. Those stars died, scattering their elements across space, until eventually those atoms gathered here became you, and now stare back into the night that birthed them. It is a perfect circle. The stars created the eyes that now perceive them. The universe made a mirror out of stardust. And when you feel awe, that tingling silence that steals your breath, that is the recognition between creator and creation. The mind you call your own is not separate from the intelligence that moves the galaxies. The pulse in your veins is synchronized, in miniature, with the heartbeat of supernovas. Sometimes, the answer comes in ways too subtle to notice a comet passing at the exact moment you needed a sign, the alignment of events too precise to call chance, the unexplainable sense that you are being seen. Sometimes, it's simply the hush that falls over you when you stand before the ocean and feel it breathing in rhythm with your heart. These are moments when the mirror clears and you remember what you are. The illusion of separation begins to dissolve. The distinction between observer and observed fades. What remains is participation. You are not looking at the universe. You are looking as the universe. Every act of perception is creative. The world doesn't fully exist until it is noticed. When you see beauty, you don't discover it, you co-create it. The mountains are shaped not just by wind and time, but by the eyes that love them. The same sunrise looks different to each soul because the universe paints itself anew through every gaze. Consider how fragile and miraculous that is. Out of all possible configurations of matter, the universe chose one that could look back, that could wonder, that could feel. Awareness is not an afterthought of creation, it is its flowering. The Big Bang was not just the birth of space and time, but the beginning of perception itself. Every eye, every mind, every consciousness is a continuation of that original awakening. And yet, the universe's reflection is incomplete without you. There are countless ways it sees itself through you that it never could through anyone else. Your memories, your laughter, your pain, all unique angles of light, all parts of the whole. You are one facet of the mirror that makes existence shine. Perhaps that is why compassion feels so natural, why empathy comes like breathing. When you look at another and feel their sorrow or joy, it is the universe recognizing another of its own reflections. There is no true distance between self and other. Every heart is a window facing the same infinity. At times, though, the mirror grows foggy. Fear, hatred, greed. These are the shadows that blur the reflection. The universe forgets itself for a while, falling into the dream of separation. But even that, forgetting, serves a purpose. Darkness gives meaning to light. Confusion gives birth to clarity. The mirror must sometimes break to remember how to shine. And every time you remember, every time you pause and feel gratitude, every time you forgive, every time you love, the mirror clears again. The light flows through you more freely. the universe sees itself a little more clearly. So, when you look at the stars tonight, remember, they are not far away. The same energy that burns within them burns within you. Their light is ancient, but your awareness is timeless. You are not gazing across distance. You are watching yourself from another angle of eternity. And when the universe looks back, it smiles through your eyes, through your wonder, through your existence. You are not a bystander in creation's story. You are the storyteller, the listener, the reflection, and the light. The universe is looking back, always, lovingly, through you. At first glance, the universe appears vast but simple, a stage of stars and planets, matter and motion, cause and effect. Yet the longer we look, the more it resists simplicity. The deeper our instruments peer, the stranger it becomes. Every new discovery unravels another layer, revealing that behind the familiar surface of things lies something immeasurable, alive and aware. The cosmos is not what it seems, because it is always more. Everything we call real is woven from mystery. What looks like solid matter is mostly space. What we call emptiness hums with unseen energy. The closer we examine the building blocks of existence, the more they dissolve into vibrations, into probabilities, into waves of possibility, waiting to be noticed. The universe hides its truth in plain sight, wearing the disguise of the ordinary. When you touch the bark of a tree, you feel roughness, temperature, weight. But beneath that sensation lies a forest of atoms dancing at near light speed. The spaces between them are vast. What you feel is not solidity, but the illusion of resistance created by invisible forces. The same is true of everything: mountains, oceans, skin, and thought. The tangible world is a shimmering mirage, an orchestra of patterns vibrating in harmony. And yet, these patterns have purpose. Out of them emerge beauty, consciousness, compassion, curiosity, qualities that cannot be measured in equations, but which shape reality just as strongly as gravity does. The universe is not a random machine. It is a work of art, written in the language of light and time. We tend to think of reality as what can be seen, heard, or touched. But what if the visible world is only the outermost layer of something infinitely deeper, like the surface of an ocean, hiding endless currents below? The physical universe could be the skin of a vast consciousness, an interface through which awareness explores itself. Every galaxy, a thought; every atom, a heartbeat; every life, a question whispered into the dark. When you look around, you are not seeing objects. You are seeing relationships. Light interacting with matter, energy interacting with space, perception interacting with memory. The world exists only in the meeting between the observer and the observed. Without perception, there is no form. Without form, there is nothing to perceive. Reality is not fixed. It is participatory, flowing, alive. You can sense this in the small, quiet moments. The way sunlight falls differently when you are in love. The way the wind seems to listen when you're alone with your thoughts. The universe mirrors your inner state, not as superstition, but as resonance. Consciousness and creation are in constant conversation. Every thought is a vibration sent into the field of being, and the field responds in kind. To live with awareness of this connection is to wake up from the dream of separateness. The boundaries that divide spirit from matter, mind from body, self from cosmos, begin to blur. You realize that what you are experiencing is not life happening to you, but life happening through you. The universe is expressing itself in your language, through your senses, your imagination, your longing to understand. Perhaps this is why we are drawn to mysteries, to the night sky, to the depths of the sea, to the edges of thought. Something inside us recognizes the unknown as home. We don't just seek answers, we seek belonging. We are the universe remembering its own complexity, chasing its reflection across the mirror of time. Even death, the great unknown, may not be an ending, but a transformation of perspective. When you die, the story doesn't stop, it expands. The energy that held you together, the consciousness that lived through your eyes, returns to the whole. The dream changes shape, but the dreamer remains. Nothing is lost. Everything changes form. The light continues, just in ways the living cannot yet see. The universe is more than it seems, because it has room for every contradiction, chaos and order, darkness and brilliance, silence and song. It is the canvas and the artist, the mirror and the reflection, the dream and the dreamer. Every paradox it presents is not a flaw, but a doorway, inviting you to step beyond logic into wonder. When you sit beneath the night sky and let your mind grow quiet, you can feel that more. It hums behind the stillness, between the beats of your heart, in the rhythm of your breath. You are not a body looking into space. You are space remembering that it can breathe. The mind wants to measure, to define, to draw boundaries, but the truth refuses to be boxed in. The universe is not here to be solved. It is here to be experienced. It is not an equation, it is a poem. Every galaxy a line, every consciousness a metaphor, every moment a stanza in an infinite verse. When you truly understand this, fear begins to fade. You no longer worry about your place in the cosmos, because you are the cosmos. You no longer chase meaning, because meaning moves through you. You no longer feel alone, because there was never a boundary to cross. And yet, the wonder remains, the mystery remains. The more you learn, the more you realize how little you know, and that, too, is sacred. The unknown is not an absence of understanding, it is the presence of potential. The universe hides its deeper truths not to frustrate you, but to keep you curious, to keep you exploring, to keep you alive. Maybe that's why the stars exist, to remind you that infinity can be seen, if not grasped. Maybe that's why life exists, to give the universe eyes and ears and hands. Maybe that's why love exists, to remind the infinite that being finite can be beautiful. When all is said and done, the universe is not a place you visit. It is a mystery you embody. The same laws that govern black holes govern your thoughts. The same light that began the world burns behind your eyes. The same infinity that stretches beyond galaxies hums quietly in your chest. So when you whisper to the stars, don't imagine they are far away. They are listening from within you, because the universe has never been distant or cold or indifferent. It has always been alive, luminous, dreaming, and through you it remembers. You are more than you seem, and so is everything.